Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Tech Concepts with Ume. This is the second part on our series on database security, specifically, our discussion about role definition and privilege administration. Before I go any further, I'd like to request that you subscribe to the channel. If you look to the bottom right of the viewport of this video, you will see a red subscription watermark. If you take your mouse and hover around that red subscription watermark, a subscription button will appear. Please do well to subscribe. So in our first video on this series, you know, um, we looked at how, we can view existing roles, how we can create roles, how we can assign attributes to roles, how we can log out of one role and log in to another role, you know, um, or log out of one role and log in using another role. Now, in this video, we will look at how a role that we have created can also be enabled to create roles, you know. Also, we will, try to demonstrate how we can easily switch from one role to another role. So I will go to the terminal now, or if you're using the Windows machine, the command prompt, so that we can, continue the series. So obviously, in the first video, we created a role which we called ISM, 211 role. But in addition to that, we also created a database which we called, student underscore rec, which we had been working with. So we're going to begin this video by creating a new role, okay, using our previously created role. Okay, now note that we want to ensure that we are using the role which we want to use to create another role. Right. So in order for us to have that assurance, we're going to use the command set. So we're going to say set role ISM underscore 211 underscore role, right? And we're going to end with our semicolon. And you should get the output that reads, set, which indicates that we are using the role ISM, 211 role. Now, once we have done this, I should point out something before I even go ahead. Remember in the previous video, in the part one of this video, when we wanted to switch roles, okay, the way we did it was we logged out and then we had to log in using the new role. Now, that's a lengthy way of, changing roles. If you want to change roles, you're working and you don't want to have to log out and then log in using another role, you can just use the set keyword, which will help you to switch roles. Okay, so now we're going to create a new role and we're going to call that role new owner. So here I'm going to use the command create role, and we're going to say new owner. And we're going to end with our semicolon. Now, with the above command, we're instructing that a new role called new owner be created. Obviously, we have established that. And as confirmation that the new role has been created, we should get the output that reads create role. As you will see here, we have that output that reads create role. Now, once the new role has been created, we will assign some privileges to this role to work on our table that is domiciled in schema Q. Now, to do this, we will grant permission to our newly created role to manipulate objects in schema Q. In this instance, we will grant all privileges on schema Q to our newly created role, new owner. Now, to do this, we will use the command grant. So we're going to say grant all on schema Q to new owner. Grant all on schema Q to new owner. And I'm going to end with the semicolon. Now, with the above syntax typed out, you should receive an output that reads grant. As you can see, we have that output there, grant. Now, the above output serves as indication that the grant request has been approved. Once we have done this, we will then grant permission to the newly created role to work on tables domiciled in schema Q. We will achieve this with a similar command. So here we're going to say grant all on all tables, grant all on all tables in schema Q to new owner. New owner. And we're going to end with our semicolon. Again, we will receive the output that reads grants, this time for tables, obviously. So as with the previous output, this indicates that the requested permission to manipulate all tables in the schema Q has been approved for the newly created role new owner. Now note, in the command above, we are granting all permissions. This can be restricted to only some permissions if we so wish. So for instance, we may want to grant permission to only read, or grant permission to only insert data into tables. Considering that we have granted all permissions to our newly created role, new owner, we can go ahead and try to insert data into our existing table rec, which is domiciled in the Q schema. So to achieve this, we must first of all switch roles. Remember that currently we're using the role ISM 211 role. So we want to switch role from our, from that or from ISM 211 role to our newly created role, new owner. So to achieve this, we're going to use the set command again. So here I'm going to say set role new owner. Okay, I'm going to end with the semicolon. Now, the above command should produce an output that reads set, as you can see. Right. Now, this output indicates that the requested role has been set as the new user executing requests. Now that we have switched roles, we can go ahead and test if our role new owner can manipulate tables in our schema Q. So let us try to insert data into our existing table rec. Now to do this, we will use the command which enables us to insert. So here I am going to say insert into our table name. Here we have been, the convention for this video has been our schema name dot our table name. So here I'm going to say insert into q dot rec, insert into q dot rec, open parenthesis, first attribute name, second attribute age, we're using only two attributes because we're testing. So we don't want to, um, use a lot of attributes. We just want to test that the new role is able to insert data because we have granted, a number of privileges or granted all privileges to this role. So those two attributes, close parentheses, and then we're going to say values. Okay, open parenthesis again. We're going to say A, so that's the value or name that the name of the person we're inserting a record for is called A. And then age, which is an integer, so we will not be using our, single quotes. Okay, 18, and then we're going to close that, and we're going to end with the semicolon. Okay, so with this command, we're attempting to insert a row of data for our attributes, name and age in our table rec, which is domiciled in the queue schema. Now, the above command should produce an output that reads insert 0 and 1. Okay, as you can see from my highlight. Now, this output indicates that one row of data has been inserted into the rec table. The 0 indicates that no object ID was inserted, as object IDs are primarily used when binary large objects or blobs are inserted as opposed to when characters are inserted. So we may decide to insert a second record using the same, command and different values. So here I'm going to say insert into q.rec. Okay, I'm going to open parenthesis again, and then we're going to say name, and then we're going to say age, and we're going to close that. We're going to say values. In this instance, we're going to say name will be J, and the age will be 19. Okay, I'm going to close that parenthesis and I'm going to end with my semicolon. Okay, and then we get the same output, insert 0, 1. Now, we may decide to perform other functions on the table rec based on the privileges that we have. Let us perform a select function on the table rec. Now, to do this, we're going to type a simple select command. So here I'm going to say select. Okay, select all. So select all attributes from q.rec. Okay, and I'm going to end with my semicolon. Right. So here you should get a result set that returns all the rows of data that have been inserted into the table rec. Okay, so you can see that I had previously, put in, the records before I started shooting this video. So which is why you have four entries there as opposed to two. So that's our illustration of that. Now note, we may then decide to update data present in the rec table. So here we can decide to update a row as follows. So let's do an update command. So here we're going to say update q, so update schema dot table name. Okay, set name equals to, let's just say G. So set name G, where name is equals to J, where name is equals to J. Okay, and then we're going to end with our semicolon. Okay, now this command should produce an output that reads update 1. Now this indicates that the row of our, table rec has been updated based on the specified criteria. Now, that being said, um, we need to note that the role that granted privileges to another role may decide to revoke the provided privileges. So for our example, we will use our role ISM 211 role because ISM 211 role granted the privileges that new, you know, the role new owner has been using. Okay, so ISM 211 role may decide to revoke these privileges, right? Okay, now to do this, first of all, to demonstrate this, we're first of all going to switch back to our, ISM 211 role. So here we're going to say set role ISM 211 role. Set role ISM 211 role. And that should give us the output that reads set. Now, okay, once we have set that, um, we can go ahead and revoke the privileges provided to, the role new owner. We can achieve this by, using the command that reads revoke. So we're going to say revoke all privileges, revoke all privileges on q.rec from our role, which we call new owner, and I end with my semicolon, and you should get the output that reads revoke. Now, the above output, revoke, okay, essentially indicates that the privileges have been revoked. We can test this by setting, our executing role to new owner. Okay, so we're going to do that again. So here we're going to say role, set role, new, set role, new owner. All right, and then we're going to end with our semicolon. Obviously, we should get the set output again. Now let's try to, execute a command using the new owner role. So here I am going to say select. We're just going to do a simple select command. Select select all from q.rec. Okay, and with the semicolon. Okay, so to this, you should get an output that reads error, permission denied for table rec. Now, this clearly demonstrates that the initially provided privileges have been revoked. Now, as a side note, you may also have a lot of roles created which you would like to provide a uniform set of privileges to. Now, to grant every privilege to all roles created, okay, we're going to use a certain command. But before we do this, let's change our role back to ISM 211 role. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy this command here. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it because we want to set our role to the role that, created this role or created new owner role and administered those privileges. All right, so we have set that. So now we're going to say grant all on schema. No, not schema. This is q, which is our schema name, dot rec. Okay, q.rec to public. So we're granting that to the public, right? And I am going to end with my semicolon, and you should get the output that reads grant. Now, similarly, we may want to revoke all privileges to all roles, and for that, we're going to use the command revoke, okay, all on q dot rec from public. Okay. And I'm going to end with my semicolon, and you should get the output that reads revoke. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this series because, I mean, we just wanted to do a summary, okay, of how how we are able to create roles, how we're able to revoke roles, how we're able to log in using a specific role, log out, and log in using another role, and all of these other things, how we can grant permissions to roles and revoke those permissions as well. All right. Now, if you want to learn more about, role definition and granting of permission and all of that, I will request that you look at this link that's displayed on the screen. It will also be placed in the description section of, this page, the page this video is being streamed from. Okay. So that being said, we're going to stop this video here. Again, I want to request that you subscribe to the channel. Thank you. In our next series, we're going to be talking about programmatic access to databases. So we talk about our CRUD functions, create, read, update, and delete, which is key to any web application that makes use of databases. These four functions are key. So we're going to be looking at how we execute these functions, particularly from a Python environment. So we're going to be using PyCharm in this instance. Okay, so thank you once again. See you in the next video.